YouTube? This is All Things Quick. Today we're getting at this 2001 BMW 330i and just doing the last couple finishing things on this car here. We're doing the door lock cylinder because that thing's spinning about, and then we're going to do the right rear window regulator. There's two small things that are left on this. One is the one tail light over there, and then the other thing is an oil level sensor. The one that was put in there ended up not being good. It will get changed out once I get that part. So even though I can work on it right here comfortably, I'm still gonna stick a battery in it and I'm gonna pull it out into the driveway there, so then I don't have to sit in wet grass.
Hold them tight, cold days, bloody nights. This phone could die when we beefing on sight. Up lurking early morning, we squeezing them pipes. Disappear like some demons, thieves in the night. I got homies in the gravesite, covered with a stone,
So for this car, I got a brand new window regulator. This one, I already took the window regulator out. I just got to pull it physically out of there. I did that a while ago. I also have a door lock cylinder here that we'll be replacing. I'm going to pull the other one out and then put that in. But first, we're going to deal with this regulator. Look at that part, eh? This is like, I've never changed a window regulator with a brand new part before. I've always had my regulators from parts cars. That's pretty neat that this is brand new. It's nice to work with brand new stuff. So for those who actually don't know how to do this, I just wanted to clear this up real quick. If you're watching this to learn, you take your window regulator out, take it out this way like you just saw on the time lapse. Once it's in, this window will be free to move. There will be one on this one anyways. The driver window and the passenger side front will have two bolts in it. But this one will have this spot right here, has a nut on the back there, so if you're missing that nut, it's going to cause a problem and you need to find another one. But there's a little 8mm bolt that goes in there, and that attaches to the window slider, which is on the bottom side of this, but essentially it would be this portion of the window regulator. That slider portion, it bolts right through this spot right there. On this one, I need to pull this up, and you can see this is winding. So that's good. It's a little tough, but I need to pull this slider up so then I can meet the window basically right there. That little red tab slides into place, and now that window regulator is aligned with the window. I need to put an 8mm bolt right in there. You can see that bolt or that nut there. And then basically I put the window motor on and then bolt everything together, and then I can put the switch back together and everything will function fine. So then you'll have one bolt up top, one bolt on the left, and one bolt on the bottom there. They're all 10mm. You need to tighten those in before you do anything. So now that those are bolted in, you need this tiny little 8mm bolt. That needs to go inside there, but it's tough to get it in there. If you have a magnetized bit or something like that to get it in there, it's best. But basically try not to drop it in the door and get it in that holder. All right, so once you get that bolt in there, then what's left is the window motor. And so you would put this window motor in there. So after you find out which window motor it is among all the other ones you have, it basically just twists into place. Once you put it in, there you go. You need to make sure that you put these bolts in there before you ever power this motor, because the tension from this thing will cause it to shift and pop out. You need these 3 T30 bolts here. Now that those are bolted in there, those 3 bolts, we just hook our connector in place here. Now that window is functional, we can put this weather guard back here, put that back on. What we're gonna wanna do first is put this switch in and just make sure that this window functions, because if there is any problems, then we wanna figure it out before we put the door skin back on. You don't have to put the switch on, you can just do it from here, but basically, there we go. So it works perfect and it's super quiet. Might buy brand new stuff from now on. So now we can slip this door skin back on, put this speaker or whatever speakers you do have in the doors, you want to hook those up first, and slip this guy through here. So that's for your window switch. The way you put these on here is you literally just slide them right into place and then they'll pop in. Slide it in and pop. And then from there, we take our door skim, slide it over top of the lock, and slip it on the top portion first. And then you want to bang that thing into place. And alongside here, you'll see these triangle tabs here. Those have to line with the holes. Push those in. right, now the door is secure and we have our window switch there. That's why you want to pull it through beforehand. And then we put our window switch in the connector and then we stick it straight in and it will just collapse into its spot. And there we go, you want that flush there. So it's always good to have a parts car because this thing got stuck in there. I forgot a bolt, so I ended up taking it out. And then what happened was I broke the pins on this thing. So this thing's no good now. I also broke the pins on this. So I'm gonna splice this, solder it, wrap it, and then I cut this from the parts car so that connector can go to the new switch, which I do have another one, but that sucks. So I ended up carefully bending those pins back in the switch itself, so that's good. And now I'm just gonna splice these open, splice those open, connect them together, solder them, and then wrap them, and then we'll get back to doing what we're doing, I guess. So that's it. Okay, so I just soldered that, wrapped it up with some electrical tape, and tested it, and it works fine. I'm gonna put this door skin back on and back to where we were. Before putting that switch back on, right inside there, you need one of these bolts, one of these screws. There's 4 of them, so there's one that goes there, one that goes here, and then there's 2 underneath that go on the bottom, and these are T20s. Now we can put our switch back on. Now we got our window switch back on. There's one more bolt that we need. It's also a T20, but that goes right there. The last piece of this puzzle is putting the trim back on. Put this end in first, and then push it in from that side out. And there we go, that's our door skim and our window regulator, window motor, window switch, all that stuff back together, and everything's functioning perfectly. We'll call that a win, even though we were losing partway through. That's okay, at least that's done. And now we can move on to the door lock cylinder. All right, so the driver's door here, what you have to do is you have to take this plastic tab off with the flathead. If you look inside here, there is a hex bolt in there. This here is a number 4 Allen key or Allen socket, whatever you want to use. You basically just take that out and make sure that you don't drop that down in the door, because that will be a bad day for you if you do. Because right now we don't have to take off the door skim or anything like that, but if you drop that down in there, then you definitely will have to take it off, so don't do that. But basically why we're doing this is because this thing spins and it doesn't unlock, so the spring is broken in the thing. In my opinion, BMW engineers are pretty smart, so they made that long enough so that it comes out far enough that you have a better chance of not dropping it in the door, but there's still that chance you can drop it in there, so be careful that you don't. So after all that's out, we can just simply pull this thing and it will come right out. Okay, there we go. So that's out now. So what we need to do now is take this silver portion off here, the plastic, because that needs to get changed onto the other one, and then we can slip the other one right in. So these things can be pretty tricky at times, especially the older the car gets, because obviously the plastic is, you know, it gets old and brittle. But you need to pry up this black tab and this black tab here, and it will release this plastic portion from the cylinder itself, so then you can just slide it right off after that. So this now is garbage, and we'll slip this cap onto the other one because this is with the paint of this car. It's always good to have those just in case. So for example, on this car, even though this one, the handle's broken, but I'm going to take this off. I can keep the cylinder because I have the key for that, but basically I would want this cap, and then if anything, if I had another car, I could just repaint it. So the reason that this thing is broken is inside here, you can see that little tab right there. When you spin that slips right in between the spring where it's not supposed to do that. It's supposed to catch on a mechanism and it's supposed to turn the whole cylinder, but this one just keeps slipping. So this is no good. There's spring repair kits that you can buy for these things, but I'm not going to keep this. The key is going to get sold with this car. I have no use for this because it's pinned out to this specific key, so that's garbage. So this here is the new door lock cylinder, and you can see inside that tab is way at the back right there. That is functioning the way it's supposed to, obviously, because it's brand new. So we're just going to slip this cap over this thing, and then this here can just simply slide right into place. That's our door lock cylinder now. So all we got to do now is put this thing back in here. If this thing's not lining up properly and not going in all the way, inside there is that cross looking tab. This, the way it's set, is like that. So if it's slightly off because of the old one, then you just need to stick some needle nose or a screwdriver or something in there and just twist it so it's centered with that. And then from there, this thing will be able to slide in perfectly. So now we just got to put that bolt back in. Now that that's done, we just put our plastic back in place. And to be honest, you don't have to take that thing off. I did anyways just to make it easier. Really, you only have to take this middle piece off, but we can push that back in. That's done. And now we just have to test to make sure that this works properly. So, see that? That's pinned out to this specific key, and the electronics work too. That's good. Call that a win. That's another brand new part. You can replace these door lock cylinders from a parts car or from a wrecker or whatever. But the problem is like I could have used that one from that car there. But the problem is this key is for this car. This key is for that door lock cylinder. So I would always have to carry this thing around just for the door. And then I'd have to use this for the ignition, because this is the one that actually reads to your ignition. So it's just inconvenient having two keys like that. So that's why I did spend the couple $100 and got a brand new one from BMW. But anyways, that's the end of this video. I'm just gonna leave it right there. And like I said, I need to replace the oil level sensor. I just got to get a new one and then swap that in. Then that will be all. And then realistically, all I have to do is just to get this taillight replaced. So I have another taillight I can use. I just need to clean it up, make sure it's not so foggy, because these ones are nice and I want to keep it looking the same, because these are the ones that are going to replace it, or the one that will replace it. So I'm going to clean those up, make them look like they're new again, and then I'll swap it into that car. But with that being said, this is the end of that video. If you like that video, definitely hit that like button. Let me know what you thought down in the comments down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, because there's lots more to come with this car and with the other car, and they're going to strip down the parts car too. Hit that subscribe button, and don't forget to join us on our Discord server. Links in the description. If you need help with cars, that's the place to go. So we'll see you in the next one. See you later.